just getting some things set up here. Got the Metallica logo out there and getting some little pieces measured out here, just kind of figuring where all I want height wise for kind of the stanchions going up. And you can see me with the little Milwaukee M12 bandsaw there, chopping the ends off of them, because that's just some leftover angle iron, some stuff that we've got, and all the ends were kind of like somebody cut it all apart with like a torch, so all the ends of them were kind of gnarly, and so I just took and cleaned them up with that little M12, cut those things off. And yeah, there's another one, cutting that off and pretty much getting it to where I think I cut the stanchions at the top about 10 inches tall. That way it would overlap into those letters a good couple inches to be tacked onto the backside of that metal Metallica sign there. And then I just brought it down, and the intent was to just weld it in at the base. Rearranging some stuff here just to get some better light on the situation here. And weld them down into a base that I could put a little stage area. There you can see I'm cleaning up all that angle iron's just sitting outside, just has a sheen of rust on it. So just kind of taking the angle grinder and just, or the 4-inch grinder there, and just flap disc and go through, and you can see it just takes all that rust off of there. And cleaning all those up, number one, just to have it better cleaned up to where it's not all rusty and nasty so paint will stick. And also number two, just to give it a kind of a more of an exposed metal, so the welder that you can see I'm arranging, getting things set to get it turned on, and now it's going. But yeah, to give it like a bare metal to where the weld would actually spark and start like it should. So you can see there I've got a square out and just laying the pieces to where they're square and coming up, and kind of use that little yellow pump up table there as a little welding bench. And then I felt like kind of spot welding it. You can see it just goes bop bop bop, and I just kind of it's almost like I just stitched the spot welds together. That was I think that does pretty good. It does. It's. I have a tendency to burn up metal as I just weld a long bead. I think it just gets too hot. So that was one of the first times I've ever really welded like that. Is just throwing spot weld after spot weld right next to each other. So if you're inexperienced at welding like me, I mean, I've welded a few cars together and body panels and all kinds of stuff, but I'm always open to new ideas, and I've seen other body shops and TV shows, they kind of stitch all their welds together so nothing really gets too hot and metal doesn't warp and you don't burn through everything. I mean, there's lots of little advantages to just doing that, and you can see the little pop 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 as it's going. I mean, this is also time lapse too, so it wasn't like super quick that I was actually going through and doing those, but I mean, it was like zzz, zzz, zzz. I mean, it was just little bitty pops there that I was stitching those welds together. And then some of those ones behind there I actually did weld a little bit more than the front little stitches. And you can see I'm kind of laying it out here, and that's where I think I'll tell you later that I've got it 8 inches off as it comes up from the base, and that's how I thought I would get the most level, is just pulling from that base there. And as we zoom in a little closer here, you can see that's pretty dang level. So 8 inches from the left and right stanchion there holding it up. You can see on the eye in Metallica there that that's some of the paint had bubbled up there just because I put a little stitch spot weld there. So it's only tacked with two little tacks right there on the back side. So I think I take it out and fit it up on the machine here in a second and just kind of make sure that's the look that I'm going for. So yeah, that little stage has a place that I can put wires and bury that. So back to live audio. Okay, see what she's looking like. This is a big topper. And that will hang off the back just a smidge. So I can bolt that through. Then the stage is there. And I don't know how centered that is. Probably close. That is a topper. So it overlaps way in the back. I'm hoping that that won't interfere with if Dad ever sells this. Other toppers, because it's hanging, I mean, it hangs out almost a foot, it looks like, off the game. But I like that height. It looks pretty level to me. Actually, the game looks out of level a little bit. I don't know. But it measures from the ground on the E and the C 8 inches from the base. So I'm saying that's good. And then with the figures up here, I think that will do just fine. Yeah. And when you're actually down here playing, you look up, the Metallica is going to be all lit up and cool, and you'll see all the band members. He'll be here, another, and then drummer will actually be set up a little bit, back up in this little raised stage section. So, still liking it. So I'll finish welding that up, clean up, and then I'll begin the airbrushing part of this series. Alright, there's a little picture of the drums there. You can see those, and really hadn't focused on the characters too much after I'd put them all together, but this little sequence here is just me kind of buttoning up and making sure that big heavy metal sign there is attached to that really well. So I'd put a couple more welds in, so it's not just a couple spot welds holding it, that it is welded to that. And then I run around all those little stitch welds that I did on all the corners, and they ended up rounding out pretty good to where you really don't notice that it's not 3 different pieces there that come to that corner. So ended up turning out pretty good, measuring 36 times to make sure it was all squared and all that good stuff, and then put all my good stuffings away and back to live audio. I'm thinking this is about the view of the average person. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking it's going to be. I just put the cardboard there to get him a place to sit up there, but that's what I'm thinking it's going to turn out to be here. So that's just a quick mock-up. The base is going to be sprayed black. I'm going to come up with a 1 before or something to maybe set the stage up a little higher up there, or maybe a piece of thin metal, I don't know, but I think he's looking good up a little higher. He looks, from my height looking up there, it all looks to be about the same height of all the band members, which I think looks pretty good. I'll put some little speaker boxes or something, some amps or something that I'll paint black. That'll hide some lights that I'll get into in the next video. But that's kind of where she sits for right now. Liking it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I scraped up the welds. It was kind of sticking through there. I had a couple that needed to be ground off. So I'll probably spray this all white to start and scuff it up to where it takes the paint, spray it all white. It's never going to be out in the sun or anything that it's going to take any heat or anything, so I'm not going to be as particular as an automobile, but yeah, looking pretty darn cool. Next stage is all the painting and pretty stuff. That's all for now. Bye-bye.